we've got your Raiders covered.
Knock on wood if you're with me.
This is Silver and Black Tonight on CBS Sports Radio 1140. And now, here's your host, Scott Gobranson.
Happy Tuesday night, Raider Nation. Happy Tuesday night, Las Vegas, Nevada. Our home, the home of Raider Nation. That is right. The Raider Nation capital is Las Vegas, Nevada now and forever, I believe. I know some people don't want to claim, you moved 2 times. You're going to move again. Yeah, maybe 30 years and I'll probably be dead by then, but or at least close to it.
Yep.
So there we are. Welcome back to Las Vegas's only, at least part of the double shot of Raiders programming here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Of course, Sunday from 8 to 10 a.m. we have Silver and Black today. Tonight is our last Silver and Black tonight until the preseason.
Oh.
Right? We go on hiatus. We have Dodger baseball and so on. And also, someone else who has been on hiatus but is now back live is the international man of leisure, and that, of course, is Mr. Chaz Osborne. Chaz, welcome back, brother.
Thanks, man. Hiatus is my middle name.
You were doing, I don't know, they said you were flying around in planes with masks on, or what were you doing? No, you were in California.
I was hanging out up at Pebble Beach, checking out the, little golf, a little entertainment, a little celebrity action. Saw Bill Murray.
Celebrity action? You're a celebrity. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Bill Murray doing his funny business, and it was pretty funny seeing here's the...
So you were hanging out in the lavatory?
Jim Nance has got his
business.
Funny winery. So Jim Nance has got his fancy wine, and here we are, and I feel so special. I'm drinking Jim Nance's wine, and then, here comes Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers with their beer, and I feel so intimidating.
Aaron Rodgers has a beer?
Standing there with my glass of wine.
Wait, but it wasn't an Aaron Rodgers beer. He just had a beer is what you're saying?
Yeah, these guys walk up with beers, and I'm like, hey, I've got wine.
Well, that's because you're
I'm
Chaz.
so sophisticated.
It's Northern California. It's white wine and quiche,
oh,
right?
man. Good times up there. Yeah, really good time. Beautiful weather, golf tournament.
Well,
you can't beat it. Pebble Beach.
We're glad to have you back and to have
glad
you
to be back, man. I can't believe the stadium looks like it's done.
I know. You leave for a couple days, you come back, and what the heck? Bam!
It's like...
Although that's the other thing I was going to say. I talked to somebody inside the project,
right?
Because there's these rumors out, including some folks here in town who break stories that there was another bolt issue. Well, listen, let me tell you something. Stuff breaks all the time. It doesn't mean there's a systemic issue and the thing's behind again.
Right.
So let's all calm down. If you don't like the stadium, you were against the funding, then just say you were. Don't just start there breaking news and all this kind. But anyway, I'm fine. You know what? People are going to do what they want to do, and it's all good.
It looks good to me.
It doesn't.
Hey, how about happy birthday, Josh Jacobs?
Yes.
Big 22nd birthday today?
Yes, and he had, while you were gone, too, he was back in Vegas house hunting, and he did a Snapchat. I'm sure a lot of people saw it.
I didn't see it.
Of him looking around at houses.
Nice.
And smoking a stogie.
No.
Yes, sir.
I know you like that.
As a cigar smoker myself, a premium cigar smoker, I'm not smoking 7-Eleven cigars.
Swishers?
He was there. I was like, okay, so this guy knows his sophistication. He's learning as a young guy, and I'm sure Lincoln Kennedy has guided him.
That's right.
Lincoln's a cigar guy, too. So,
right.
But this show, let me give you a quick rundown. We're going to talk about catch up with Chaz on some other free agent news in the world of the NFL and of the Raiders as the quarterback talk continues. And you know what? Yes. Oh, why are you guys talking about the quarterback stuff? I'm tired of this BS. Well, then don't listen.
No, it's a conversation. They got to listen. They're Raider fans. This is the Raider show. It's the only Raider show in Las Vegas. We're talking Raider football.
But Chaz, here's the thing, and I know you know this because we do the show together.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about it, doesn't mean we endorse it. Hello?
That's right.
I am not a presidential candidate saying I endorse this message. No.
We're not putting crazy narratives out there just to get clicks.
No. Believe me. There are people who do that, and they do it really well. It's a big business. You make a lot of money. I could make more money on our website if I did more of it, but I don't. There's a lot of websites who take stories from other websites and then do stories about them on their website. We don't do that. But this conversation, there's enough of it. And I've said, for everybody out there who hasn't listened a lot lately, maybe it's your first time or you haven't been back in a while, Chaz, I have said consistently since the last third of the season into the offseason that I believe 99.9% that Derek Carr will be the quarterback for the Raiders when they open up the season at Allegiant Stadium. Now, not everybody likes that. That doesn't mean that I believe Derek Carr is the best quarterback in the world and I don't see anything that he can improve on. That's not the case.
No. Derek Carr's fine. I apologize to the listeners. I'm always kind of comparing to referencing basketball, but I feel like the Carr situation's, like a Kemba Walker. No, more like a DeMar DeRozan. There's a guy that can. These guys are average enough to get you to 500 every year. But if you surround them with some, quality players, who knows what could happen? I feel like, the 2016 Derek Carr and, with Josh Jacobs, I feel like the Raiders are really building something special. And when they get a couple of more nice players in the draft and this free agent market, they got a lot of money to spend. I feel like Derek Carr is, how many times have I said he's a top 12, top 14 quarterback? And really, that's all you need. Garoppolo, where does he land on the thing? But look at that team. You put that team together. Now, it's not a good example because they lost. But
I would argue, and I'm not comparing the two quarterbacks because I think they're different quarterbacks, but Garoppolo's 21-4 as a starter.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
So now he missed a year.
He's had some nice teams.
No, he's had some nice teams. There's no doubt about it. He's had a good defense. He's had good offense. Mm-hmm. Although his receivers, they had to trade for Sanders. But to me, the point, though, is, folks, when we talk about this stuff, it's because there's always possibilities. There's a possibility they could trade Darren Waller. I know it sounds crazy, and it won't happen.
Right.
Again, 99.9% chance. But
somebody starts making offers, and
somebody makes an offer. I mean, there are a few. I don't think Josh Jacobs is touchable, but again, the point is that it's an off season. I equate it to, like, for example, movie fans. They're Star Wars fans, right? Star Wars fans.
Right.
Star Wars fans are nuts. They're crazy. Now, I grew up a Star Wars fan, right? But I'm not. My life's too busy to keep up with all the theories and all that stuff.
Right.
But you go to these YouTube channels and I watch them and I see people go back and forth. Now, when I hear Raider fans, and I love Raider fans, I always tell it's the best fan base there is. But when I tell fans that, listen, because we talk about what do you want us to do during the off season? Chaz, how are you today?
Hey, yeah,
that's great.
Tell you about all my travels around the world.
Don't you love the Raiders?
No, they're here to talk about Raiders, and Tom Brady conversation is a conversation.
Right, and my Star Wars point was when you listen to a Star Wars podcast or a video on YouTube, they're like, okay, so movie number 9 or 10 now. What is it? 10.
Right.
Number 10. What if they do this and then it's this and this, and you're just expanding on the universe and thinking of what ifs. It doesn't mean that you don't like the current quarterback. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen, folks.
Right.
It's just we're having fun talking about football. And if you get mad at us because we have a different point of view, God bless you. That's your point of view.
Right.
And take it to the bank.
Call it in. Let us know.
But don't criticize others for having a view the other way. Argue with each other in a respectful manner, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, that's what it is. That's what fandom is. It's passion.
Right.
Have the passion, but don't go ape crap over somebody because they have a different opinion or because they want to talk about possibilities.
But it's a real possibility. This Tom Brady thing, I don't know. Maybe it was 2010. LeBron James started this whole free agency frenzy thing where you every year, and then after he came back from Miami, he kind of signed a 2-year with a 1-year out every year. So every year, he was the top story going into free agency every year. And now you're seeing it in baseball, you see it in football. And so Tom Brady, for once in his life, he's a free agent. And it's a big story. So he takes a picture with, Mark Davis. That's the picture. Now, the thing with the Los Angeles Chargers, and I feel like it's 75% he goes back to New England. But that 25% that he goes to L.A., because of his brand, and he kind of you saw the same thing with LeBron going out to the Lakers, and he kind of took a year off last year. The team wasn't that good, but he's building his brand. LeBron has a studio; he's got a office over at Warner Brothers Studio, and Tom Brady's building his brand. I don't know so much of in the movies, but he's got his health, all of his new and upcoming projects. So I feel like it's a real possibility that he could go to Los Angeles just for that fact. But for me, 75-80%, he goes back. 90%, 95%, Derek Carr is a Raider next year.
Well, yeah, no, there's no question about it. And again, barring something changing. I mean, if somebody calls and offers you a trade that you can't turn down, then you do it. No matter how much you like your quarterback. And if you feel that the option that they're offering you is better or will make your team closer to the goal, which is winning a championship.
You're always trying to improve. Listen, I've been in that room. I've been in the war room. I've been in these discussions. I was privy to a lot of information. And, somebody starts something, they start talking about, and all of a sudden somebody else gets excited about it. All of a sudden it's got legs, and there's smoke. All of a sudden there's fire. I remember Ricky Rubio before he was drafted, and we were in the war room talking, and all of a sudden this Ricky Rubio thing, everybody's going bananas about. We got to get Ricky. We're trying to trade up for Ricky Rubio. Wait a minute, we don't have any information on Ricky Rubio. We had an international scout, and he saw him and he liked him, but. Boy, all of a sudden we're about to mortgage the future to try and go after Ricky Rubio. Like, wait, pump the brakes a little bit. So I could see where that kind of happens, and I'm sure that happens in a lot of the front offices across all sports. You start talking, somebody gets a little excited, and then somebody takes it and runs with it.
Right.
And that's, easily Tom Brady with 6 championships. There's 30 teams this year that probably would want him, right? I mean, barring Kansas City, obviously, Baltimore, a couple other teams, every other team would want Tom Brady. You want a guy that's exactly 6 championships and all that experience. Now, for me, he's on the decline. I still want him, but I just don't want him to be the focal point. If he's
and here's the thing. After the break, our senior NFL columnist Mo Moton will join us.
Yeah, Mo have it.
Mo published a piece on the website today, a column basically saying, guys, not going to happen. Tom Brady's not going to be a Raider. I tend to agree
going anywhere.
with him. Thank you, Tom Brady. I tend to agree with him. But we're going to let him speak for himself and walk us through why he believes that to be the case.
The voice of reason.
The voice of reason. But it's the voice of reason if you believe or don't want it to happen. Now, there's a lot of Raider fans I've seen out there, which shocks me because he's Tommy Tuck rule. But the point is, they are excited about the possibility that Tom Brady could come here because they don't like Derek Carr. And
right.
I get that. That. If you think you're going to get better. You weren't here Sunday, Chaz, but we had Tom Fornelli from CBS Sports on to talk about his mock draft where he had the Raiders trading up for Tua, and you would have thought that I went out and did some bodily functions on a Raider logo.
Oh my gosh!
Right, and it wasn't even me who said it. It was Tom Fornelli of CBS. We had him as a guest.
Right.
Both Kelly and I said, "Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I don't think it'll happen." And then we're getting comments from people saying that we're idiots and know what we're talking about. And I'm like, no, you're an idiot because you didn't listen to the entire show.
Right, because that's his opinion.
That's his opinion, and we move on. But nonetheless, opinions are valid.
But I'm telling you, they're sitting in those offices right now because this is the time where these front offices really earn their paycheck. And that's, they put all these different scenarios on the board.
Yep.
And I guarantee Tua is one of them.
Well, and we'll talk about that, too, because like you said, Chaz, you being in the draft room for the Lakers all those years, I'm sure there were almost things that happened that fell through at the last minute. That could have been blockbusters. All right, we're going to step aside when we come back after the break. We will be joined by one Mr. Maurice / or quote-unquote Mo.
Yeah, Mo.
Hey, Mo! We will be back. We'll talk to him about Tom Brady and why he says Tom Brady will never be a Las Vegas Raider. You're listening to the Silver and Black Tonight here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Raider Nation rallies with us. This is Silver and Black Tonight on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Welcome back, Silver and Black Tonight, our last edition of the year. Well, of the season. The just finished season as we go on hiatus with just the nighttime show. I had somebody also call me. It was an active week for me in social media. I was answering a lot of people, especially on YouTube. We've had our stadium tour video has over 100,000 views or close to.
Wow.
And the drone videos. People love the drone videos. So
they're cool.
We're going to keep doing those for you guys, and I'll play one during the next break too, by the way. But there's dude, you guys said you cover the Raiders all the time, all year round, and now you're telling me the show's not going to be on. I'm like, no, dude, just Tuesday. Sunday we'll still be here, 2 hours.
Tuesday was more of like a wrap-up show from the weekend, right?
Correct. Yeah, because you and I recap games for the most part. Right? And so that was the whole point of it. And we feel very proud because the folks here at CBS Sports Radio 1140 and Entercom, who's our parent company, they believe enough in the Raiders. They know they saw the power in what we were doing 2 years before the team got here. And and then this year they added this show. Just if you're looking for a station, other people are going to start covering the Raiders in Las Vegas, folks. And this is not just self-serving for me. The station and the group here at Entercom are committed more than anybody to covering the Raiders on the radio.
Yep.
And so we're not going anywhere on Sundays. We might take a week off at the end of the month, depending what happens. But nonetheless, it's still, we've now, again, I always say the number, 97 weeks. Here we go.
Yeah.
Find me other people who've done 97 weeks without stopping.
Yeah.
That's no offense to them. It's just
but everybody around here, man.
All right. Well, we also we hang out with some sketchy people here, including this next gentleman. No, I'm just kidding. One of the best guys in the business, and we're fortunate enough to call him a colleague. He is a senior NFL columnist with silverandblacktoday.com, as well as a contributor here and as well on Sundays on Silver and Black Today, and that is a Mr. One, Mo Moton, who joins us from the East Coast. Mo, how you doing tonight, man?
Hey, Mo.
Hey, Mo. Wow. We're having issues with the phones. We'll get to him, though. We'll get to him. But Mo wrote a column today. If you haven't read it, go and check it out because he said basically Tom Brady's not coming to the Raiders.
Right.
And he really lays it out in the story. And so I want to make sure you guys, if as you're listening, bring up the story because he's going to kind of go through it. We'll go through it. We like to do that when we have Mo on because Mo is a really gifted writer. And he really has, as a writer myself, he makes things so clear. The clarity he brings to a subject is fantastic, and so that's why we love to have him on after he writes something, even though he could do radio with his eyes closed and not have any problems doing it.
He nailed it. When he writes an article, it's such an easy read, but it's so informative at the same time. It's like you want to keep reading, you want to keep getting that information. So informative, but so easy to read, And the one thing he talked about with the Tom Brady not coming to the Raiders, he thinks the Raiders don't have enough weapons right now. Yeah, and that's a solid point. Tom Brady's going to go into the twilight. What does he have left? A year, 2 years, 3 years max. He's going to go to a team. Now, I would say that he would go to the Raiders because of the offensive line. He doesn't want to go somewhere where he's going to get smashed.
Yeah, and I, there's in Mo's story, and we'll talk to him about this as soon as we can get him on the phone. But we have, I disagree more with that point than any of the others about the weapons, because I think there's examples of teams who have quarterbacks and weapons and things that work out, and they get by with less. Yeah, that does not mean it's optimal with what they have. But okay, now we finally got Mo. Mo finally got away from his avocados, his avocado smoothie, and he got on the phone. Mo, welcome, buddy.
Actually, it was the anybody but Carr people who tried to set.
I wouldn't doubt that, man. It's a raging fire of anger, disagreement. I mean, it reminds me of the national political scene. I always say that because it's like, some people think one person is the devil and the other people think it's God. And so you can't argue in between because nobody wants to see in between. But that's why we love you, Mo, because you actually lay it out and you give it to us straight. Even though we know how you feel about the Raiders, you never let that creep into your coverage. So let's dive into your column from today, where you basically say, listen, Tom Brady is not going to be a Raider, and you go through the reasons why. And first, we start with the one that I actually have more of a little bit of a rub with you on, because I don't disagree with you 100%, but a little bit, which is you say Tom Brady wants weapons and the Raiders don't have enough of them. Explain what weapons they don't have that Tom Brady would need.
Now, a lot of people are going to push back and say, what about Josh Jacobs, great offensive line, Darren Waller? I get it. But if you look at Tom Brady, I did some research, I did some digging on this. Tom Brady with young wide receivers doesn't really do well. I believe Aaron Dobson was the most effective. He had about 500 yards as a first-year wide receiver with Tom Brady. Now, the Raiders have Hunter Renfrow, who I'm a big Hunter Renfrow guy, but he's not going to take over a football game. Right. Terrell Williams has been a number 2 option basically his entire career. Even with the Chargers, even when he's healthy, he's a number 2 guy. He's not a dynamic wide receiver that's going to take over a game. So my question is, if you're going through the air and the defense takes away or limits Darren Waller, what's your plan B? Like, who are you going to take over the game? And the Raiders just don't have that wide receiver yet. I know people say, well, the draft's coming up, and the deep draft wide receivers. But as I said, to open my argument, Brady hasn't really done well with first-year wide receivers. I know N'Keal Harry was banged up earlier this year, but he was drafted in the first round. And he did next to nothing this year, even though he did miss nearly half the season. Wasn't effective with Brady this year.
No, that's true, and I think that you look at that, and you're right. I mean, the Raiders are not in the position, Mo, where where they're stocked everywhere, right? We know the issue at wide receiver. We know the challenges they've had at that position, including, which was, to me, just so evident last year. But then I think you see examples of other teams that are in similar positions but yet still win more, and you can throw the defense in there and talk a lot about that. The second point that you make, Mo, when you were talking, again, we're talking to Mo Moton, our senior NFL columnist, also contributor at Bleacher Report, here about why he says Tom Brady will not be a Las Vegas Raider, is you say here, which a lot of Raider fans 100% agree with you, which is he won't have the defensive support. And you mentioned this a little bit, but talk about that stat again and talk about Tom Brady working on teams that have good defense versus not.
Now, the Patriots, with Tom Brady as a full-time starter, this excludes the 2008 season, 15 out of 18 seasons, he's had a defense, he's had a top 10 scoring defense, which means points allowed. And the other 3 years, the defense is ranked, I believe, 15th and then 17th in 2 years. The Raiders haven't been better than 18th since, I believe, the 2002 season. So he's going to go from New England to Oakland, where Patrick Mahomes plays. If anyone's heard of him, just won a Super Bowl, pretty good. Going to need a defense to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's not going to have that with the Raiders. Raiders still have they have parts there. Max Crosby, Khalil Farrell flash at the end of the year. Trayvon Mullen's pretty good. But they still need playmakers on every level of that unit, and he's just not going to have the defensive support, which means he's going to have to throw more, he's going to have to score more points. And you don't want Tom Brady at 43 years old in a shootout. It's just that's not a recipe for success.
No, I agree with you on that, Mo. Again, talking to Mo Moton, senior NFL columnist with Silver and Black Today, contributor at Bleacher Report and here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. And Mo, I think you're absolutely right about that. And you look at situations for Tom Brady, because we've seen a lot of national media today that talk about, okay, well, here's where Tom Brady could go. Here's where it makes sense. And they start talking about the Chargers, and they start talking about the Raiders, and they talk about the Colts, and they talk about all these different teams. But in reality, I don't understand why, just because he's entered free agency, why they don't think he'll be back with the Patriots. The owner, Bob Kraft, has said, we're going to make this right. And so, to me, he might be exploring because it's his right to do so. He's never had the free agency. He might make a couple visits just to check it out. But to me, the most natural spot is where he's at.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I'll say this real quick. Maybe I have a petty mind, but you got to remember Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round. So he was passed up multiple times by every team.
Yeah.
You don't think he wants to take his victory lap this one time, take his victory lap where most teams are going to go after him and try to woo him? You don't think he wants that at least once in his career to say, aha, you didn't want me back then, but now you all want me now. And I think he just wants to be appreciated, and I think that's part of why he wants to visit and talk to different teams. But like you, I think he winds up with the Patriots. As a dark horse team, I know this is probably sounds unrealistic, but I think a good spot for Tom Brady would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bunch of weapons there. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, 2 tight ends, 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers, and Bruce Arians, who's well-respected as a head coach. I think he would be great in Tampa Bay, even though a lot of people say unrealistic, probably not going to happen.
Well, and no, I agree with you. And I think Tom Brady in Tampa Bay is far more realistic, Mo, than Phillip Rivers, who I think, with all due respect to him as a guy, I think his skills have far degraded more than even Brady's. I'm not saying Brady's haven't, but Brady, I think, can actually, at this point in his career, believe it or not, I think he can throw a more accurate deep ball than Phillip Rivers can.
Yeah, absolutely. All respect to Phillip Rivers as a competitor, but I feel like Phillip Rivers is washed. I'm glad a lot of Raider fans didn't talk about Phillip Rivers coming to Las Vegas, but, the Never Carr crew was like, oh, maybe we'll take a look at Phillip Rivers. And I'm just like, no, he's probably a better backup than he is a star at this point in his career.
Right. Yeah, and I think Phillip Rivers, actually, the team that most makes sense for him is the Colts. I know Brissett is not convinced that brass there that he can be the starter and so on, but it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Now, Mo, lastly, you said one of the reasons I should say, number 3 was that the Raiders are still rebuilding. Now, how is that different from the fact that they just don't have enough tools? Talk a little bit about that difference.
Well, when you're a rebuilding team, you're still learning how to win football games, how to close football games. And I know the Raiders started the season 6-4 in 2019, but they finished 1-5. So they had an issue with consistency, and they still have to learn how to close football games and beat teams when they win games that they should win, crush teams that they should crush. And Brady had a text overlay on his Instagram. He said, I'm not going to wear a blazer to the next Super Bowl because he was being honored as a all-time top 100 NFL player. And basically he's saying subtly that he wants to be on a contending team. He wants to play for another Super Bowl. He wants to go after another title. And we all know the Raiders have one winning season since 2002, 2003. So if he's looking at contenders and the Raiders have been deficient in winning over the past nearly 2 decades, why would he go to Las Vegas to a team that's still on the way up, still rebuilding, again, with a lot of young parts, that's still trying to establish a winning culture? He wants to win now, not go there and establish something. No. That's my view on that.
No, I agree. And then, Mo, lastly, we're out of time. We're going to take a break, but make sure you go read Mo's column because he also talks about the picture that started a lot of this as well. So he's got some great thoughts there. And Mo, we'll be talking to you more on Sundays pretty soon here as we get up to the Combine and the Draft. As always, my friend, thanks for all the work you do.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
no
Mo.
more Brady rumors, please. None. No,
no more. We're done.
All right. Mo Moton, our senior NFL columnist at silverandblacktoday.com and a Bleacher Report contributor. We're going to step aside when we come back. The Silver and Black Tonight rolls on. Don't go anywhere.
Sound off with Silver and Black tonight on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Going anywhere.
Thank you, Tom Brady. Welcome back, Silver and Black tonight. And we're hearing about the quarterback stuff in our social channels. As if you don't know, we are also, as we always do, we live stream via video.
Oh, we do?
Ooh, video on our growing YouTube channel, which I didn't pay much attention to until recently. So we're trying to get things going and make it better for you there, guys.
Yeah.
But we are live on YouTube. Lots of conversation. That's where the most conversation happens is on YouTube,
right.
And on Facebook and Periscope as well. If you're a gamer, you can catch us on Twitch, man.
Yeah.
You know, I don't spend time on Twitch because I'm too old and too busy. But my kids do.
Box up in the corner
That's
while you're playing
cool.
your video game.
My kids watch the Twitch videos that then these guys upload and make millions of dollars on YouTube. I know your son's an e-gamer.
He is, and he the Ninja and Shroud. Those guys are making bank monthly,
big time money. And the kid with the blue hair, I forgot what his name is. He does Minecraft. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Crazy. So Mo's article is great.
Yeah. But that's the thing, Chaz. Let's talk about this because we talk about Tom Brady, but at the core of the conversation isn't so much Tom Brady. At the core of the conversation is them deciding at some point that they would want to go on to a different quarterback,
right?
Which we have no indication that that's even going to happen, nor that anybody wants it to happen. It's just a point of discussion. So other names out there. Right, you see these videos. I saw a bunch of national shows today watching clips. I had one guy say Phillip Rivers. I'm like, come on. Second guy says Jameis Winston. He's going to get let go and I'm thinking John Gruden would probably knife the guy in the locker room.
Every coach would pull their hair out. They had Jameis Winston.
Right.
You know what? You said
he
something about Rivers going to Tampa
Bay.
And then whoever goes to Tampa Bay, I feel like any quarterback in Tampa Bay is really going to succeed. They've got such a solid team down there. If Jameis Winston didn't throw so many dang interceptions, they had a great team.
Not only that, but Bruce Arians, and I think
that's what I mean. The whole foundation, top to bottom.
But if I am the Buccaneers, because Phillip Rivers' name has been, and we talked about with Mo at the end of the segment there,
right,
has been bantied about for going to the Buccaneers. And everything. Oh, he's going to the Buccaneers. He can't throw the ball to those guys. Goodwin and those. He cannot throw with the accuracy or the depth.
You got to get that deep ball.
They got speed, man.
They do.
They need somebody who can chuck it.
I can see Cam Newton there.
Cam Newton, although he's on the decline. I mean, I'm not saying Cam Newton. I can see Cam Newton with the Raiders. I know. Whoa.
Yep. No.
What's up, Carr hater? That's not what I'm saying, guys. I'm just saying we're just talking about these names.
Right.
Out of all those guys, Rivers, Drew Brees, technically a free agent.
Yep.
Tom Brady, perhaps Jameis Winston, who's not a free agent, but Cam Newton we think is going to be traded.
Yeah.
Right? Ryan Tannehill is not signed yet because you can't with the Titans, but he's a guy who could be, which I doubt. Again,
I think they franchise tag him.
No,
don't they?
No, they're saying all the indications that they won't franchise him and they won't franchise Henry. They're actually going to sign them to a longer-term deal.
Yeah.
So my point, though, is, Chaz, if you're looking at that situation, to me, realistically, I asked the question here, and people are saying Alex Smith, which is funny because he hasn't. I don't know that he's been cleared yet, but the point is, if the Raiders were going to move, I think they're going to draft somebody and develop them and let Derek Carr stay another year. I don't see them going to get a veteran quarterback.
Well,
I just don't see it happening.
You made a great point of picking up a free agent. Like Marcus Tuiasosopo, I thought might be a good. Why do I always say that? Mariota.
Oh, Marcus Mariota.
But
he's. I
don't know why John Gruden's so fascinated with this running quarterback, and he's got to have somebody that's a running quarterback.
Did you not watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah, of course. This guy's transcendent. All right, you've got.
But Lamar Jackson
and
Deshaun
Patrick
Watson.
Mahomes. I'm still not sold on Deshaun Watson.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know you keep bringing him up, but you saw what happened in that game.
But if you look at the quarterbacks too that are going to come out of college, the quarterback 2.0 is very real. It doesn't mean that. Ryan Tannehill runs the ball well.
Right.
So it doesn't. You don't have
Carr
to be.
can run the ball.
You don't have to be the Deshaun Watson or the Lamar Jackson running.
I thought Mariota was a pretty good name for a backup for Carr. Just he's still a big name. He can still run it. He can still push him to be better. Like you keep making.
Yeah.
That's not a bad one. What's the kid's name? The backup of backups in New Orleans.
Bridgewater.
His backup, the one that plays in the shotgun.
Oh, the one who said yesterday that he wants to be a quarterback, and if I can't be a quarterback, get me out of here.
So why isn't he a quarterback? You know what I mean? You've got to be able to throw the ball as well. Yeah, so he can run the ball. He can do some gimmicks here and there. But at the end of the day, Derek Carr's got a great touch on this, but he can get the deep ball. The argument back and forth, and I'm seeing it on social media when I click on there sometimes, and you've got these guys that post all of his bad throws.
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill.
Thank you, Mafia Dude 316 on Periscope.
Thanks, Taysom. Mafia Dude. He must be from Vegas. and so, I see both arguments of Carr, but me personally, and it might be, I've got that, Al Davis kind of loyalty to a fault kind of thing, but I still think that 2016 Derek Carr is there, and now with Josh Jacobs, they've got something going, and I feel like Derek Carr can make those throws, and he can run the ball when they need him to, and it's going to be ongoing.
Here's the thing. I think a fair criticism of Carr is that he needs to use his feet more to make things happen. That does not mean run.
That's what's so special about Mahomes. But he can keep that play going forever.
But at times, Chaz, Derek Carr needs to move and run the ball, and he doesn't. Why? I don't know. Okay, none of us are perfect.
Right.
You can listen to this show and write down probably 100 things I can do better.
Nah.
But that's okay. Like, I have no problem with that. People do it all the time in social media, and I actually agree with them. I thought, thanks for that. Thanks for giving me some feedback. Because I think you need it. But I like your point. Bring in a veteran who's going to push Derek Carr. I still think that's the best way. And I say push, not like he's not a motivated guy or that he's not there to try to win.
Right.
I'm just saying that competition to me is always good.
I mean, ask your listeners there, would they rather have drafted Drew Lock than Trayvon Mullen this year? And now you've got Drew Lock sitting there. Like, it's a fair question. You guys both thought, you and Kelly thought that they would draft a quarterback last year. I didn't, because I thought it would kind of be the...
I didn't say they'd draft a quarterback last year.
Yeah, you both said that you thought the Raiders would draft a quarterback. In later rounds.
Like in the 5th or 6th
round. Of
round.
Course, yeah.
But as a backup, because look at their backup situation. It was awful.
Right. And that's fair. Now, what if they drafted Drew Lock at the first pick in the second round instead of Trayvon Mullen?
Second round, I liked Drew Lock more than Kelly did, but I didn't think he should be a second-round pick, and obviously he fell. But I think, like this year, I think you have to have a quarterback now that you're going to you're either going to go get a veteran to back up Derek Carr, right? Mm-hmm. Or you're going to find a younger quarterback that you want to develop as a backup, and because I don't think they're going to take a quarterback in the first few rounds. They only have the first and third rounds anyway.
Right.
So if you take a quarterback in the 4th, 5th, or 6th round, okay, that's going to be a guy you're going to develop into a nice backup, or it's somebody that you try to develop and be the heir apparent to Derek Carr.
Right.
Because Derek Carr's entering his 7th season. You don't know how long he's going to play. So you start to think about the future. Because in this league, and it's the one thing that Tom Fornelli from CBS, who was on our show Sunday, if you didn't listen to that, either check it out on YouTube or check it out on downloads on iTunes and Google Play and so on, is he said in this league, you have got to have the most important player in the NFL on a team is the quarterback.
100%.
And it's 100% true. So you need your quarterback. And that can be Derek Carr. I'm just saying. Your quarterback has to play at the highest level that they possibly can. So you talk about 2016 Derek Carr.
Right.
That's who they need to go to go to the playoffs.
Right.
Go deep in the playoffs. That's the person they need.
But they need to surround him with, players. The one thing with Mo's article, the glaring for me, Tom Brady's played with a top 10 scoring defense 15 out of 18 seasons.
Yeah,
the Raiders haven't had they haven't been better than 18th since 2002.
Yes.
You've got to surround him with talent.
But apparently, I was told by somebody, too, that they don't like the team moving to Las Vegas because all these bandwagon fans. And I reminded him that you can't be a bandwagon fan when your team has sucked for the better part of 2 decades and you haven't made the playoffs. So
by far, the Raiders
Raider
are
fans
the only
are
team
loyal
that's,
fans,
right.
and Raider fans even knew his point was you can't be a new Raider fan that they're not valid. I'm like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the point though is that you need Derek. If Derek Carr is going to be the guy, let's assume he is. He's got to play at that higher level. There's no question.
Yeah.
And I think even people who really love Derek Carr and think he should be the starting quarterback, they call him names on Twitter, stands and lovers and all this stuff. If they're going to be vindicated, then Derek Carr has to have a ball-out year. I don't think they would deny that.
Right. And they thought this year was going to be that year. And he did just enough to keep the argument going for another year.
Oh, boy. All right. We're going to step aside. We'll come back with the last segment of Silver and Black tonight for the 2019/2020 season or 2019 season. When we come back, we'll finish up the show and take your call, 702-733-5968, 702-733-5968. Silver and Black tonight here on CBS Sports Radio, 1140.
When you need inside info on your Raiders, you'll find it here. This is Silver and Black tonight on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Welcome back, Silver and Black tonight. As we end the 2019 season, this show will be back sometime in August, I believe, at the latest September. So stay tuned for that. Of course, Silver and Black tonight, today, tonight, tomorrow, yesterday.
Sunday,
8 to 10 a.m. That show's not going anywhere. We're going to be there. So make sure you
join us. 100 in a row, aren't we?
That's right. We're coming up on our show number 100. Make sure you are with us Sunday, 8 to 10. You can listen to it on the radio.com app for free. You can also watch us YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, you name it. Also, when the show's over, you can go 24 hours. You can rewind it. It's like a DVR on the radio.com app. Or if it's past 24 hours, a lot of our listeners, because I see the spike in downloads and streams, on Mondays, they download it in their favorite app store, whether it's on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, it's SoundCloud, wherever. You can also get the show after the fact there as well. It's very popular. So you can't miss the show. Anyway, so Chaz, as we get close to here wrapping up this show, it's going to be, my friend, it's going to be a really interesting, I think, next few months. We're going to have some lulls here and there.
Yeah, but free agency, the draft.
The draft here in Las Vegas.
It's going to be a good time.
It is going to be a good time, and I want to thank, of course, Mark Bonilla, our producer and engineer, behind the glass in there.
Always a pleasure.
He keeps the virus in that booth and keeps it away from us. No, I'm just kidding.
You got the Lysol, bro.
You gave it back to me? What's the deal? But Mark, thank you, man, for all the work you do throughout this football season. Amazing. So thank you
welcome,
very much.
brother.
Also, Paul Ihander, our program director, who has undying support for what we're doing here, and just amazing.
Yep.
But again, we're not going anywhere. You can see us on Sunday, and make sure that you do that and listen to us.
We're bringing it. Raiders.
And the Raiders. There'll be some things coming up. Of course, we have the combine coming up here pretty soon, folks.
Right.
And so you got to watch out for that. I talked to Kelly. Went and met Kelly for a cigar while you were gone, and we talked about what he's going to do in the run-up to that. So we're going to go through all the different position groups, Chaz, with Kelly as we lead up into the weeks, which is in the middle of March, right? So we'll do that. And then once we get past that, we'll start to really deep dive on the draft, which, of course, we will be at here in Las Vegas because it's in our backyard.
It's going to be interesting. It'll be fun to see what the Raiders, what they want their identity to be, with the draft and the free agency. Do they build the team to, try to keep up with the track meet that is the Kansas City Chiefs, or are they a running team, or are they going to go all defense again in the draft? It's a really fun time of year, and this is really when the brain trust gets together and they earn their money up there. And they're just, I know that I've been a part of that for, 10 plus years, and you get in that room and you lock that door and you're in there all day, and you've got so many scenarios and you've got so many different options and possibilities. And what if this happens? What if that happens? What if we do this? Which direction do we want to go in? Are we trying to compete with this team, or are we trying to build our own? We believe in our system. We're going to go in that direction. So it's really going to be fun these next couple months, just seeing, the intricacies of the building process.
No, it will be. And I think the draft, We're all going to spend the time doing mock drafts and talking a lot over the next several weeks about what the Raiders may do. You may like some of what we say, but you have an opportunity to contribute. You can contribute on the chat, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Periscope. Yep. You can contribute by calling into the station here. We'll take your emails, you name it. DM me on Twitter. I'll read it on the air.
Yeah.
So be a part of it. If you think you have a different view than everybody else has, then chime in, right?
Yeah.
And
fans,
have fun with it.
Fans are smart. They know what they're talking about. They know what they want to see. They want to see the that product, the finished result of that product. And we want to hear from you for sure.
Yes, and it's been a fascinating season, and of course, as we get into the second season, the off season, a lot of things are going on, and I want you guys to make sure you check out the website. If you're a faithful viewer and listener, and you haven't gone to the website, check out silverandblacktoday.com, where you'll see Mo's column from today, which you definitely want to read, and then also. Make sure you check out our YouTube. Go subscribe on YouTube, because not only do you see this show and Sunday show live as we stream it right here from the studios of CBS Sports Radio 1140, but we also do drone videos. We alternate. One week it's the headquarters, the next week it's the stadium. I did a nighttime stadium one. All the stuff we have up there. We're also going to be doing a lot more private, not private, but what's the word I'm looking for? Different videos. We're going to do some really one-off videos where we talk about the Raiders stuff and content you'll only be able to get on YouTube.
Hey now.
Yes, thank you.
I was looking for Raiders up in Pebble Beach this week, but there wasn't any up there. I was scoured.
And we had a caller wwho called in from the Bay Area, was listening to us tonight, and said thanks because they don't get anything up there. Also, in the few seconds we have left, we're going to do special next year. We're planning, just so you have a little tease. Next year for this show and for the Sunday show, we're going to do some member only, and I'm not going to charge you for it. You just have to sign up, and member only videos. We'll do some post show stuff, where we can get a little sassy and use language we might not be able to use on the air here without the FCC killing us.
Vegas.
So we're going to have fun with that. So you guys, a lot of things happening as the Raiders come here to Las Vegas. And we're right in the middle of it. We've been doing this for 3 years, right, before they even got here, and now they're coming here. So for Mark Bonilla, our engineer, producer, thank you, Mark. For Chaz Osborne, this is Scalco Branson. This has been the Silver and Black Tonight. We'll see you next season, and we'll see you on Sunday for Silver and Black Today. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.
Good night.